Hi everyone, welcome to ELI, the place where you get your daily dose of inspiration for entrepreneurship. And today we have with us Mr. Padma Kumar Nair and Ms. Shalini Nair, the founders of InnoVenture, which works in the area of connected packaging and many other new technologies. Hi Padma Kumar and Shalini, welcome to ELI.
Hi, Priya. Hi.
I would
Thank
request
you for
both
giving
of
us
you.
the opportunity.
I'd request both of you to introduce yourself to our audience. We'll start with Padma Kumar.
Hi, I'm Padma Kumar. I'm a co-founder and CEO of InnoVenture. I come from a corporate background. I have close to 15, 16 years of corporate background, primarily in telecom. I was more on the marketing side, more on product development, pricing, planning, strategy. In 2018, while doing an executive program at MIT, decided to move out of corporate world and move into entrepreneurship. Then this issue was identified. Counterfeit was an issue that was identified and tried to come up with a solution. And then I reached out to Shalini, who is my batchmate during my engineering days. Rest Shalini can take it forward from there.
So I'm Shalini. I have around 21 years of experience and I worked with HCL in the beginning and I've always been in technology around 2007 I actually ended my corporate career and started my own venture. So I've been a serial entrepreneur. So this is our third and we started it together. When Padma reached out to me with the problem statement, he came to me saying that there is this problem in the market. Can we do it? Can we do it in a way that it is covert? Can we use a camera to capture it and identify it? Make it simple so that there's no process change. And I was reading about cryptography and working on few things and AI, all these areas. So it seemed like marriage made, and then we decided that we'd venture into this together. And
Very
that's how
interesting.
we started.
Very interesting. So before we start talking about the venture, I would be very interested to learn the context of the discussion, where if you can explain to us what are the different technologies that are in play in your venture.
I think maybe you can start with how you identify.
I'll start and then maybe Shalini can take it forward. See, I come from a product background where I believe customer experience defines your product. When I heard this issue of counterfeit, I was talking to a lot of brands, a lot of manufacturers, a lot of printers. So three things came out why companies are not implementing some technology. One, most of the solutions out there requires a huge process change. Second thing is most of the anti-counterfeit solution is like a sticker or a QR code or a barcode, which gets copied in 3 months' time. Anything visible gets copied these days because computer vision has improved a lot that they can copy anything. And the third thing, unless consumers are also part of this journey where they also can validate the process or validate the product, you will not win this battle against counterfeiters. So I clearly defined that we need to come up with a solution which is not changing the process in an organization, something that is invisible. Third, even the consumer can scan using a smartphone. So I told Shalini, these are the three things that I want. Now, what do you want to do with what technology? I don't know, but this is what we want. The rest, Shalini.
Okay. That is where I was explaining earlier also. So when he came with this, there were a few areas. Anyway, all these emerging technologies are, the technology is ripe at this point for us to exploit all the AI capabilities, the cryptographic capabilities, and mobile phone cameras have also evolved to a stage where we can visualize such a solution. So it was like at the right time, the right problem came to the forefront. That is how we came up with the solution. and we knew
To sum it up,
make a difference
to sum it up, today we are using AI, cryptography, blockchain, and it's a SaaS product which is on the cloud. So all the buzzwords that you can think of, not to say that we are in that space, we actually use all this technology to develop this product.
Okay.
And since the beginning, we have been very clear that we take up most of the hard work. We make it complex for ourselves, so that it is very simple for even the consumers and the manufacturers to adopt. So that has been the guiding principle since the beginning, since inception.
Okay. Speaking of buzzword, I came across the term connected packaging. Can any of you explain what is the meaning of connected packaging and how does it work in real life scenarios?
Yeah, so basically, we started off as an anti-counterfeit solution. So the technology, how it works is, what the brilliant technology that Shalini came up with and patented is encrypting some cryptographic signature on packaging, which is invisible. We were thinking primarily of anti-counterfeit solution, but when we hit the market, we realized that using the same technology, we can show many more features. You scan the product, it can start playing video, it can start talking to you, it can allow you to download digital assets like PDF and other things. So then at the same time, we happened to see, we were part of Microsoft for Startup. We were selected by Microsoft globally as one of the startups, B2B startups. So they're also, in that interaction with Microsoft, they also told us that, the world is moving towards a connected packaging where today all this packaging, like all this box, it is a just dumb box. You have to read. And the world is moving to a space where you scan and it starts interacting with you. Can I see from where this was manufactured, where this was printed, from where the raw material was sourced? So the world is moving to that space. And our technology can actually enable companies to move there without having an IoT device or anything. So you scan, because this encryption enables you to interact with the customers. So then with support from Microsoft and I think Shalini worked with that team, maybe Shalini can take it forward on that, more on the technical side.
Actually, just to add to the experience part also, if you see of now today, they are always touching things or viewing things very naturally. It comes naturally to them to look at something and expect information. I have seen my nieces touch the screens thinking that they'll get something. Even when you go outside, physical things are being touched so that it can. So the connected part of it, digitizing it is what is in everybody's mind. This is what we realized when we had the Microsoft team as well. So what the expectation from the manufacturers is also to get everything connected from the time of, if you look at alcohol companies, they talk about grain to glass kind of connection. So everything from one end to the other is expected. I took that example not because we are, we are in that space, just to show the connect from end to end, because that is what people are expecting at each touch point, to have its own connection and to digitally view everything.
Okay. If I may sum it up for my layman peers, so it's basically using a QR code or a barcode, you can understand the entire history of the product and all the different aspects. So now that we have understood the context, I would like to.
That's what we want to correct also.
Sure.
So the QR code part of it is, essentially it is very very raw way of doing it. It was the most, the beginning of the connected packaging. Now people don't look at it from a QR code perspective. You have to be able to just point and shoot and then get the information, not utilizing or keeping one space for a QR code itself is a huge overhead for most of it. So
Okay.
moving away from that is what we are also working on.
So like Padma was mentioning, invisible QR code or something like that. Understood.
Yeah, our technology is actually encrypting the entire packaging. So imagine you have a QR code, and if that space, if the retailer puts a sticker there, this is the new price or new offer, you'll not be able to scan. Now, what we are developing is something where you scan anywhere and it gives you information. The
So
entire packaging is encrypted.
the packaging is the QR code.
Yes.
Understood.
Correct.
Understood. So now that we have understood the context, now please tell us what is the venture about, especially in terms of what kind of clients we are servicing and what is the scale of operation.
Before we go there, I want to just tell you some of the shocking things. Like,
Sure.
every 5 minutes, one kid dies in Africa because of fake anti-malarial drug. And mind you, malaria is a curable disease. Just because someone ends up taking a counterfeit drug, they die.
Okay.
More than 1 million people die every year because of counterfeit drugs. And as per WHO, 30% of drugs that we buy online are fake. And it's not just limited to drugs alone. You take FMCG products, food, your toothpaste, to your toilet cleaner, to your some of the food that we are buying. Everywhere counterfeit is there. It is expected to be around $2.3 trillion, more than GDP of many countries.
Okay.
So we moved out of, at least personally for me, I moved out of corporate life wanting to do some change to the society. And that's why Shalini also joined the mission, because Shalini was running her own venture, and she joined the team with the view that we want to make a change to the society. Then we found a couple of angel investors who joined us with the same view that, same vision that we want to make some change. So primarily our ambition is to make some change to the society. If we are able to save even one life, it's worth the journey. Today we are working with some of the leading FMCG companies and pharmaceutical companies. And our aim is to digitize the packaging globally. We are in expansion mode right now, working with some of the brands in US and Europe also, and also in Middle East now. Yeah, Shalini, anything else that you want?
No, I think that covers all as far as there is concerned.
Okay. Now please tell us how did the journey look like for building this venture? When did it start, and how did it start? Then what kind of people joined you to realize this vision? And if you can also take us through on a series of events that happened between the first day and now.
A lot of people see only the success of this entrepreneurship journey. But to be frank, we have our ups and downs in this journey. We started in April 2018, I think. April, right? Yeah, April 2018. Shalini joined the team first. The company was formed, Shalini joined. In fact, one of my classmates during MIT days was also a partner in the company. So 3 of us formed the company together. And 2018 July, I also joined the team. I left my company. I had a notice period of 3 months, and I also joined the company. The journey initially was smooth. We raised a angel funding of $500,000, primarily because of MIT and the vision and this mission that we are going to change something to this world. We could raise some money initially, but that glorious days ended very soon. $500,000 we couldn't, because the technology that we were building, though we like Shalini mentioned earlier, from day one, our ambition or our mission was, we will absorb all the pain, but we will make the life of a customer and the brand very easy. They don't have to invest in anything. They don't have to change any process. So we will take on. So in that process, we had to come up with machine learning, AI, cryptography, all those things, which the solution looked simple, but the development was big. And we had a team, we set up a team in Bangalore. R&D center was developed in Bangalore. We started with an initial team of around 8 people. Yeah, and Shalini was leading the team in Bangalore. Yes, and soon we reached the roadblock of, no more money. How do we do? And one of the partners, due to difference of, vision, he also left the organization. But it's not just an idea and having good team. It's about the grit and the determination to take it forward that actually takes the startup forward. We have reached roadblock. We have seen the end of the road many times where we had only $1,000 in our bank account with 10 to 12 employees. But every time, maybe because of our where we were going, the noble cause that we were going behind, we were fortunate enough at every point we had an issue, someone or the other joined. And we had a series, series of bridge rounds where we raised close to $1 million again. Some wonderful people joined at the right time and put money so that the company could move forward. In 2021, right? This year, March, we raised our Series A funding. We got a phenomenal investor in Finis Investment Group from US. Mr. Ramad Shatla joined as a chairman of the board. And he is someone who comes with a lot of experience. He's been the CEO of Sun Edison globally, and then he has multiple startups. One thing that augurs well with our vision is that he is someone with the same vision, that he also wants to do some change to this society, and someone who gives a lot of freedom to founders and entrepreneurs, someone who enables founders, and that has actually given us wings now. I think Shalini, you can also add something that if I have missed out something, I'm sure you will have more on.
So, like Paddy mentioned, the journey has not been smooth. It has its lows and lows. Of course, at each milestone, we have had, we have celebrated with others, and the team has been really supportive. We built a team, like I said. How did we build the team? We initially started with those who know us has recommended those who would be open to joining us and so on. That is how we formed the initial team. Then we had recruiters also find us few of the initial employees, but always we have also been careful to get team members who share this vision. So that is also something which is important. If you don't have people sharing the same kind of a goal, and those who take it as their own product, we wouldn't be able to work towards. Like Paddy was mentioning, COVID was something which suddenly hit us, and at that point of time, if we did not have the team which was so supportive and cohesive unit, it would have been difficult for us also to survive from there till here.
When we were about to actually take off with the first customer and we were about to expand, COVID came. Everything went to ground zero again. We had to start all over again. But the team stood with us. They were ready to take a pay cut. The core team none of them left us. They stayed with us. We had an open discussion with the team, and they were ready to actually support us, stayed with us. And they are still with us, and that's what has actually taken us to this level. And thankfully, Ahmad also joined at the right time, so we could take it forward. But 2020 was really tough for us, and that was something that was not in any of the pipeline or any of the strategy or any of the plan. And that's one thing that as an entrepreneur, everyone should be mindful of, because it's not the talent or the strategy or the technology that you have. There are so many other things that can impact your company, impact your business.
Speaking of team, you mentioned that the team should have the right vision, at least the similar vision that you have. but how do you find such people when you form the team, especially when you talk about skill sets? It's pretty easy to find people with the skill sets you require, but finding people with the right vision, that is little difficult. How do you find such people?
I would
Yeah,
say
I
that
think
even from them, it is not easy, like you said. I know part of it is that they come with same values. So it's not the vision per se. Probably they imbibe it from us, but it's more about the values also. So we have certain things in you, inherent in you. You tend to carry it forward along with the company you work for. If you see it as a job, then you wouldn't be sharing vision at any point.
in fact, we had the core team before we got funded. And one of the things that actually, in the first meeting that we had with Ahmad, he told both of us that, I don't go behind technology or company, I invest in people. And that has actually transformed our way of thinking also. Then when we look back, we also invested in some good people who were supporting us. And then when we asked Ahmad, he told us three things. He looked for three things in people. One, their values. Second, how generous they are in terms of praising people, in terms of giving it to the company, how generous and how courageous they are. Honestly, I look for these three in most of the candidates that I interview now. And that's something that even in HR, we have defined our policies in a way that we look for these kind of values in people, whether they have that, and that's what we are actually taking it for.
Okay. Can you tell us how did you find your first customer, and how did your minimum viable product look like?
First customer was like a cakewalk. Actually, me and Shalini went to meet a customer. Someone gave us a lead saying, why don't you go and meet this customer? So we went there thinking we will have to have an elaborate pitch on how this product is. We went and explained to him, we have a technology like this and we want to do a POC or proof of concept. The guy sat there and he called his VP or someone on call and said, I heard a brilliant technology. They are coming to the factory. Please implement. So we didn't have to do anything. It was like a cakewalk and we went and implemented. The major brand that we got, the first brand that we got also was like very fast. Someone referred our technology to the packaging head and the packaging head called us. We presented to the product managers or the brand managers. And the decision was taken, let's roll it out. And I can't, due to the NDA, I don't want to mention the name, but more than 1 billion packets got encrypted quickly. In no time, it was.
In the course of the first customer that Paddy was mentioning, is how our entity also evolved. When we initially in 2019 beginning is when we went to the first customer that we had, and at that point it was quite I would say it was our vision of what the MVP should look like. We had quite an extensive trial and implementation in that factory, and that is how it evolved to a place where the second one was even more easier.
And the other thing, I think there was a conference called CPHI, right? CPHI in 2019. Shalini attended that interview, that CPHI conference, and happened to meet some of the leading FMCG and pharmaceutical companies. And all of them gave us a platform to test it out on their company, and they all went into a commercial thing. So I can't take the names, but this process actually helped us evolve from a pure anti-counterfeit solution to a connected packaging. And that's how we also learned what is the exact process that happens in the organization, how the printing is done. So we could fine-tune a lot of the things that we didn't know exactly how it works. All that happened because we suddenly we got an opportunity to work with some 4 or 5 big brands. Okay. And our experience so far, I mean, I keep telling this, I've worked with many companies, but This is the only product where I've not seen a rejection so far. Wherever we go, people just welcome us. Yes, let's test it out. So, because it's so easy, they don't have to invest in anything. There is no process change. All they have to is take a decision. Let's do.
Now that you have reached so far, what is the plan ahead? Where do you see yourself going in next 5 years time? What is the vision?
The vision is to actually expand globally and enable the process of converting all this analog packaging to digital packaging. Take this as one of the major platform across the globe where people can actually use it to convert their packaging to a digital packaging. Move from packaging to material itself. Can we do the same technology on material, like on a surface itself? Can we do like engine parts or anything? So the metal engraving, can we do that at that level? And you scan and you know that this is genuine. So we want to take it to a level where how can we digitize the packaging and the material part, and in the long run be a global player with operations in US, Europe, and North America, Europe, Middle East, and the Southeast Asian market. If everything goes well, and to have an IPO in the US.
Interesting. Now going to the next part of the interview. Tell us about the different challenges that you have faced while building and growing this venture.
Shalini can start. Because I only see positive things, so I don't care.
Challenges, from the company perspective, challenges like we mentioned earlier also, within the, when you have 3 founders and 1, all these were challenges for us at one point. And we have mentioned, in previous question also on keeping the momentum going in so far as the funding and such constraints. From a product perspective, there are always challenges, like technically you would understand, but I don't think this should be covering that at all. But yes, the challenges is mostly in keeping momentum going, even with all these that come in. All sorts of different issues which can arise.
What all?
It's like a marriage, I know Shalini from engineering days, but I've not worked very closely with Shalini. Same way, the third partner, I know him during my college days, but I don't know him very well. But when you all sit together and work, it takes some time to gel as a team and to accept the other partner as it is. Yes, you have these weaknesses, I have these strengths, I have these weaknesses, you have these strengths. So how do we work together as a team plays a big role. Yes.
What are the different pivots that you have done to your business model so far?
Different? I didn't hear that question.
Pivots, any pivots that we had.
Pivots,
no,
okay.
Per se, we do not have. It is just, our core, what we visualized is what we are still working on. It is just that, slight modifications or slight perspective differences are what has come about. We have not had in pivots, like we mentioned. This is exactly what since we did the homework before we started, this is exactly what the industry needs.
I think that's a big learning for, even for a lot of startups. I would say, do your homework really well, because we didn't start one fine morning. Yes, we have an idea and start. Personally, I spent almost 6 months studying about what is this industry, why they are not doing. We defined the product clearly well. Then we spent a lot of time how to build the product. And then we started the company. It's not like, I think we would have, homework would have been almost 9 months before we started the company. So that way, we didn't change the core as it is. We only strengthened the core. If we had a core of anti-counterfeit, we have made it connected packaging, more and more features to the core. But the core is still the same. And our idea that, you know, it will be a very, very customer friendly product where they don't have to change process, all that still remains the same. We have not changed a bit. We are continuing with that so far.
Okay. Coming to the last part of the interview, tell us what is the meaning of entrepreneurship to both of you?
Shalini can start because she's
Not
been an
about-
entrepreneur for a long time.
For me, entrepreneurship is not about just in running the company. Actually, you have it when you're doing anything small also. So you have multiple small entrepreneurs within your team. So like you were asking earlier, you have a team which is sharing your vision or the values. So all of them are micro entrepreneurs in this. So for me, it is taking a challenge and working. Giving it your own all to make it happen.
Yeah, for me, see, one of the biggest changes that have happened to me personally is my course at MIT. Till that time, for me, education is for getting a job. When I went there, I realized that it is for, they all study to create a job there. So there is a fundamental shift that has happened to me that, you know, the studies, what I'm studying is for creating jobs and helping the society. So today for me, an entrepreneurship is more of a responsibility. We are actually helping a lot of people, a lot of company, a lot of systems. It's more of a responsibility that we are taking to do something different to the society, make changes to a lot of people. And in this process, I mean, if we are able to make many people rich, that's what entrepreneurship is for me. It's about touching many, many lives and bringing some change to their life.
Final question. What are the different lessons that you have learned as an entrepreneur, which we can take away and apply to our lives and our ventures?
So, when I started my first venture, at that time, I came from, raw from the corporate background, right? So my assumption was that since I was leading a large team there, doing everything, I would be able to do and get into this and be successful. But I learned that there are lots of things we take for granted when you're in a company that you need to provide for your employees or those who are working for you. So having a good idea about the entire process or all the areas is important. So choosing your co-founder carefully is also very important. So between ourselves, we have got totally disparate strength, and we complement each other in our weaknesses as well. So that is very important when you're forming a venture. So I came to InnoVenture, this latest one, with all these learnings with me.
I think that's a big point, because see, to have a good partner in this thing is a very important thing. See, you should be able to fight also. We fight like cats and dogs, but we are good friends. So we can fight inside the room. We go out and we have a coffee and that's it. That fight is on the topic. To have that kind of an understanding and a partner to discuss to that level is very important, because the moment ego gets into the play, everything goes for a toss. And if you don't fight also, you will end up with a very wrong product. You should be able to fight it out and come to the best solution for the organization. And that has been one big plus that we had between us. I mean, a lot of times when people see, they think that there is some big fight going on. But we are actually fighting on a topic, and we know very well that we are discussing that topic, not between us. And that is a big thing that any startup should have. They should have that thing of that rapport where they can actually debate between them, fight it out between them, and bring out the best for the organization. Second, grit and determination. You never know what is going to hit you. We never thought COVID will come, but that easily took away 1 year of our life. I mean, imagine leaving job and getting into entrepreneurship. And my family was in Dubai with kids going to school. There was a year with almost 3 years with no salary, and Out of that, 1 year was not planned also. They didn't have anything to take that. But that is also something that entrepreneurs should be ready to take it. And the third point, like Shalini mentioned, I think to get your right team members, your partners, and most importantly, your investors. Because we have been approached by many investors, and today when we look back, we are thankful that we didn't go in that path. And you will see a lot of guys who are around you to help you with other intention to take a big pound out of your organization. To be mindful of all such people and to find your right investor is very important. Today, we are talking so confidently because we know we have a very strong backing of a very strong investor. That's a big thing for any startup. And imagine having some guy who is always finding faults in your organization, fault in everything. That actually kills the organization. So yeah, I think for me, having a great team partner, the grit and determination to take it forward at whatever, and strategic partners, investors, very important. Investor especially, very important.
Well, on this note, we have come to the end of our discussion. I would say it was a great pleasure to host both of you, and what you are doing is very mission driven, and kudos to you. Thanks for your time, Padma Kumar and Shalini, and our best wishes for your venture.
Thank you. Hope we didn't bore you with our stories, and it will be a good learning for a lot of entrepreneurs.
Yeah, it was absolutely great learning.
Thank you.